Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you all okay. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Sophia. I'll be hosting this meeting for you today. Thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoy it. Before we start, I would like to thank you, Gestor Produções, Nitrogen, Engenharia de Sistemas Prediais, and RBM Web for supporting this live. This is the second part of the blockchain webinar. The first one is available on our YouTube channel. This webinar aims to provide a starting point for people interested in understanding blockchain technology, the technology behind cryptocurrency, and exploring its true potentials in the energy and renewable energy sector. Today, in addition to our guests, we have our tutor and president of the AEE Brazil chapter, Angelo Rocha, who came to honor the event. Before I start, I would like to hand over to Angelo so he can say a few words to us.
Good morning all. أهلا وسهلا. صباح الخير. نحن هنا اليوم مع صديقي ألان أون من لبنان للحديث مرة أخرى عن blockchain. We are here to talk a little bit about blockchain technology and its relation with energy sector. This is a very hot issue and in the whole world, and in Brazil it's not different. And I have been studying energy sector in Brazil since the 2000, and then I consider we are close to hardly need this kind of technology in energy transactions in Brazil, and that's why this webinar is very important for energy sector in Brazil. And I would like to pass the word to our friend Alain to give your lecture. Please, Mr. Alain, it's up to you.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Angelo, for this introduction. I'm really glad to be here presenting in front of the Brazilian chapter, the Brazilian chapter. Once again, as you mentioned, this is our second webinar in this series of energy blockchain webinars. And our first webinar, I introduced to you the technology itself, blockchain, the technology behind Bitcoin. We went through a little bit how this technology works, what are its advantages and what are its features, and how it brings something new to the market, a new architecture, a new philosophy, a new way of doing business. So today I'm going to present to you how we can benefit from this technology, not only for cryptocurrency and the financial and economic sector, but also we can bring this technology to the energy sector. We can unlock new opportunities for the energy sector. We can create new possibilities, new solutions in order to solve some of the problems we are currently facing in the energy sector. So without any further delays, allow me to share my screen and present to you how we can benefit from blockchain technology in the energy sector. Okay, so in order for us guys to understand how we can benefit from blockchain technology in the energy sector, let's first understand how the energy sector itself is evolving. So we know that most of the economic sectors, if not all of them, are under the influence of mega trends. So these mega trends that have been existing for the past 150 years and still exist today, and we are integrating new mega trends. So between those mega trends, we have globalization, urbanization, population growth, climate change, digital transformation. So all those mega trends are affecting the full spectrum of the economic sector, and definitely it is also affecting the energy sector. So maybe in late 19th century. So we started seeing electrical grids. They started in the form of isolated electric grids at the size of, at the scale of villages and cities. So we had like small grids just supplying electricity for lighting for small villages and cities. And later on, with the involvement of industry and growth of industry, and with the first industrial revolution, the demand for electricity started to grow bigger and bigger. This growth in electricity, combined with the invention of alternating current that allowed transmission over long transmission lines, pushed electrical companies to build centralized large-scale power generation plants located in remote areas away from cities and villages, and transmitting electricity for long distances to those villages and to those towns. This model was quite good for a long time. It served us through the second industrial revolution and coexisted also and existed through the third industrial revolution. But by the beginning of 1990s, and especially 1992 with the Rio Summit, big countries in the world and the large industrial countries in the world started worrying about the climate change and the impact of energy generation and industrial the companies on the environment and the CO2 emissions. And we started having new regulations, and we started pushing towards going into a cleaner energy sector, into a cleaner methods of power generation. And it was combined with the revolution of the renewable energies that pushed into the integration of new renewable energy resources and distributed energy resources, such as photovoltaic, wind, hydropower, electric vehicles, demand-side management. So once again, so we started with a decentralized, isolated grids in the late 1990s. Then we moved into a centralized architecture for power generation with those big power plants that are centralized in a location and feeding all the edges. And now, once again, under the pressure of all those mega trends in the world, we are once again moving into a decentralized architecture of the electric grid. Yet this time, this decentralization is more complex. We're moving into a smarter form of the electric grid, but this transformation is not going to be so smooth because it brings so many challenges. So can you imagine trying to manage and control thousands, if not tens of thousands of distributed energy resources connected to the grid, knowing that these resources are not continuous, they are intermittent, they work as a function of the user's variation in demand and of energy. So we have so many factors that are new to the electric grid, and it's not that easy to talk about the integration of distributed energy resources on the electric grid. So this is a major problem. We are moving into a decentralized form of electric grid. We are pushing the power generation more toward the edges of the grid. This implies complications on the level of infrastructure. It implies new investments that has to be made on the infrastructure, and more specifically also investments that has to be implemented on the management of the electric grid as a whole. So this is a big challenge for utility companies, for electric grids, and for energy supply and change all over the world. So also at the same time, most economic sectors, and the energy sector is one of them, they are under the influence of so many advanced technologies that are disrupting those sectors. They are creating new architectures, new business models, new revenue streams. And this impact also affects the energy sector. So the energy sector is not immune to those technologies. So if you want to talk about advanced technologies or digital transformation, so we talk about blockchain, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, machine learning, big data. We can add to this virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D printing, nanotechnology, cloud computing. So all those technologies that have emerged during the past decade are really disrupting and changing the way business is conducted all over the world. And as I already mentioned, the energy sector is not immune to those changes. So we will definitely see some new, and we are already seeing the impact of those technologies on the energy sector. So today we're going to focus on the blockchain technology. We're going to see how this technology is capable of creating new architectures, new business models, new revenue streams for both consumers and utility companies in the energy sector. So this digitalization trend that is impacting all sectors and impacting the energy sector is affecting the full spectrum of the full supply chain of the energy sector or the electric value chain. So it is so it has an impact on the generation side. So we are seeing today, for example, new operation performance management softwares and asset performance management softwares that integrate artificial intelligence and machine learning connected and combined with IoT in order to improve the operation of the generation assets, the power generation plants, in order to minimize downtimes, in order to increase efficiency, to increase revenues. So we are using artificial intelligence at this level. Also, we have exchange marketplaces based on blockchain, field service management, where we are combining virtual reality with IoT data and big data. Also, it is impacting transmission, where IoT, big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning are playing a tremendous role in improving the resilience and credibility of our transmission lines in order to minimize losses, in order to increase the efficiency of those transmission lines. At the end, at the distribution level, at the edge, also we are seeing implementation of blockchain, as we will see in our presentation, for peer-to-peer energy trading, for smart metering, for user-centric billing, demand-side management, smart grid. At this level, I think this is where blockchain is playing a major role, but also it has an impact on the generation and transmission, as we will see. This full digitalization of the electric value chain is changing the value chain from a reactive mode of operation, where utility grids usually reacts when they have a problem on the grid, into a predictive mode of operation. And soon enough, we will gonna go into a prescriptive. So predictive, which means you anticipate the problems based on data collected from the field. And this gives you an indication that you should react before you have problem on your electric grid. But when you're talking about prescriptive, we are talking about gathering information from different assets, comparing this information to data gathered from the manufacturer or other similar assets installed elsewhere. So comparing this data, we can have a further insights about the lifespan, how to improve our asset performance, how to extract more profits from our assets. So this is a more prescriptive mode. So definitely once we reach that, we will have a faster decision making on the electric grids, more dynamic grid, and higher efficiency on the management level. Okay, so this is, in my opinion, where the electric grid and the electric value chain specifically is heading. And we will see how we can benefit from blockchain technology in order to serve this purpose. So, as I mentioned, the energy sector and the electric sector are under the influence of several mega trends. And the most important three are the 3Ds of the energy sector. So the 3Ds are decarbonization, decentralization, and digitization. So a lot of money are being invested in order to move the energy sector into a decarbonized, carbon neutral energy sector, in order to minimize the CO2 emissions coming from the energy sector, which is one of the biggest contributors to CO2 emissions worldwide. So according to IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Association, more than 40% of power generation will be coming from renewable energy by 2030. At the level of decentralization, and when we talk about decentralization in the energy sector, we're talking about distributed energy resources. And according to Navigant, more than 900 megawatts will be connected to the energy grids by 2026. So, and we have the digitalization, where we have billions of dollars being invested in order to digitalize the energy sector. So when we look at those 3Ds, we can see that blockchain can play a major role in order to achieve this transition in the energy sector. Why it can play a major role? Well, simply because, first of all, when we talk about decentralization, blockchain is a decentralized network. So if you want to manage decentralized assets, the best way to do it is not to go into a centralized form of management similar to client server, but you have to go into a decentralized architecture that helps to connect to the edges, It helps to guarantee its proper flow of information and avoiding single points of failures and avoiding weaknesses in the grid. So as we have seen previously in our previous webinar, blockchain can help to achieve a better control of distributed energy resources. It provides immutability and data integrity because it's more safe than conventional client-server networks. It is decentralized and secured. It's efficient and autonomous, and it's more owner and customer centric. It's more like, since we have no central entity controlling, it can help us to achieve decentralization. It is digitalization without any doubt, because blockchain is a digital platform, and it will help us to achieve decarbonization by helping the utility grids to integrate more distributed energy resources and minimize the CO2 emissions. So just a recap for those who didn't attend the last webinar, what is blockchain? So most of you are familiar with the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. And blockchain is just and simply the technology behind Bitcoins. Okay, so by definition, blockchain is a digital distributed chronological ledger that is hosted, updated, and validated by several peer nodes rather by a single centralized authority. So this is a new way a new way to create a data network, a new way to deal with data in a secure, immutable, fast, without the reliance on third-party or centralized entities. So simply, blockchain is an additional layer on top of the internet. So for today, we know that we have the World Wide Web, which is a layer on top of the internet. It's a client-server-based layer that help us to access the information on the internet, but we're accessing information on a centralized server. With blockchain, we don't have a centralized server. It's a network of peer nodes where we have a distributed ledger distributed among all connected peers that helps to always have an updated ledger on all the transactions being conducted on the blockchain. So blockchain can help us to move into a typical conventional analog grid into a platform. So it's a digital platform where we can have not only consumers, because with the old electric grid, we only had typical consumers. So now with blockchain and digitalization, we can move from consumer to prosumer, which means that the consumer can not only consume energy, but also produce energy. We have bidirectional flow of energy from the grid to the consumer and from the consumer back to the grid. And with blockchain, we have a third way of doing this, is by producing energy and not only transmitting this energy back to the grid, but transmitting it to other consumers on the grid. So now we have a three-way flow of energy instead of bidirectional flow of energy or unidirectional flow of energy, which is the old technology or the old form of electricity grids. Now we're moving from a volume-based of energy production towards more like a service-based. So utility companies are providing consumers with advanced services that didn't exist in the past. For example, with the advancement of digital transformation through the energy sector, we are having new services for consumers. Now consumers using their mobile phones or their laptops or iPads, they can check their energy consumptions in real time. They can see new offerings from the company. If they want to enroll into a demand-side management, they are having updated prices and the incentives from the utility company in real time. And those are all new services that have been enabled from advanced technologies. And we will see how can blockchain push forward those services. And finally, we're moving the grid from an asset focus, focusing on just power generation plants, transmission line, into customer-centric, where the customer is and the customer's data is the value asset that utility companies can own. Okay, we will see how we can achieve that. So a few data about the potentials of blockchain in the energy sector. So according to the German Energy Agency, 80% of energy executives believe that blockchain is a game changer and will introduce further disseminations in the energy sector. More than $300 million of investment in more than 100 startups has been invested in 2019 alone in the energy sector. global blockchain technology in the energy sector market would surpass an overall valuation of $10 billion by 2026. So you can see those figures. They are all indications that, without any doubt, blockchain definitely is going to become a game changer in the energy sector. Also, from global market insights, it can show you that the blockchain will have a major impact in the Asian Pacific continent. It will have a compound growth rate of more than 52%. It will have an impact in the US. Well, we'll also see some increase in the investment in the energy sector, blockchain in the energy sector, where these investments will go beyond $3 billion US dollars. Okay, so also these are like indications that large markets like European, USA, Asian Pacific markets are really considering the implementation of blockchain technology in the energy sector. This is what blockchain can bring to the energy sector. So it can provide full traceability of information. It allows to have ability to ensure data that data is not tampered, that data is reliable. It will help to serve the distributed nature of distributed energy resources. And the energy sector can benefit from smart contracts and their autonomous nature in order to enable new energy trading between peer consumers. We will see how we can benefit from that. Increase speed and efficiency, increase security. It will increase definitely transparency at the level of the electric grid, and it will unlock new business products and services. So this is a slide that I've shared with you last time. This is some of the applications. So for you who don't know, I'm a researcher in the field of energy, of blockchain application in the energy sector at the University of Quebec. My team and I, we have identified more than 18 uses for blockchain technology in the energy sector. We're not going to go through all these potential applications because unfortunately the time doesn't allow. So I've picked for you some of the main or most important applications that might correlate to your case in Brazil. So I've selected those applications in order to share them with you today. Okay, so the first and the main advantage that blockchain brings to the electricity sector and the energy sector in general is peer-to-peer energy trading. So as I told you previously, in the old form and before the integration of renewable energy resources on the grid, we had unidirectional flow of energy. So only the utility company was able to supply electricity to houses and to supply energy to consumers. Later on, with the integration of renewable energy resources, new financing mechanisms, new trading models were created. So we have seen like net metering and feed-in tariff for houses and small-scale or medium-scale applications. And on the large scales, we have introduced the power purchase agreements, PPAs. Nevertheless, due to new requirements from clients, and since we have seen the limitations of net metering and feed-in tariff, as we will see in a few slides also, I'm going to explain to you what are those limitations. We can consider blockchain as a third alternative. Blockchain can enable consumers to trade from one consumer to the other. So if you have excess energy, your only option would not be to inject this excess energy back to the grid, but you will have the possibility to sell it to a fellow consumer at a rate that you can both agree on. So this is what we call peer-to-peer energy trading. And without a blockchain, it would be impossible or hard to achieve peer-to-peer energy trading. So peer-to-peer trading as a concept emerged way before blockchain, but the management of peer-to-peer trading, because you will have to manage the trading at two levels. You have to manage the energy trading and the financial settlement between the seller and the buyer. So it would have been very difficult for utility companies to manage maybe thousands or millions of peer-to-peer tradings per day. So this is like a nightmare for utility companies. But thanks to blockchain architecture, thanks to the way blockchain it is constructed, this can be achieved autonomously using smart contracts, securely, immutably, transparent, using blockchain technology. So how can blockchain contribute to peer-to-peer energy trading? It can help prosumers to have better return for excess generated energy. I was going to explain that to you. Provide competitive advantage for innovative retailers, people who are innovative, people who are innovating on the energy efficiencies at the core of their houses and getting more energy to sell, so it can compensate them. It can achieve low cost, transparent, secure, and instant electricity payments for the peer-to-peer energy trading. So, as I mentioned, we already have two existing models, which are the feed-in tariff, net metering, and peer-to-peer as a third option that emerged with blockchain technology. So the problem with the feed-in tariff, it's a long-term predefined scheduled scheme. Usually it goes up to 15, 20, 25 years. It's like you have the monopoly of the utility company, because usually in a feed-in tariff, you will be selling your excess energy back to the grid. And this is where the utility company sets the price for this excess energy that you're injecting. So, and usually the prices decreases over time. So you can start, for example, today in a contract where you're selling excess energy from your rooftop PV at 15 cents. And maybe in 5-10 years, this price will drop to 5 cents. And who knows, well, it ends in 25 years. And let's not forget, it's a long-term commitment, and nobody can anticipate how the market will be in 25 years. So in sometimes, and we have seen that, the feed-in tariff has been in favor of the prosumer, but in so many times also it has ended in the favor of the utility company. And nobody can tell you how the scale will go. It's very hard to define if it's going to be in the favor of the utility company or the prosumer. So the second model is a net metering. For the net metering, usually you sell back your excess energy back to the grid at the same rate you're paying for the consumed energy. So if I'm paying, let's say, 10 cents per kilowatt hour for my electricity, if I'm injecting the excess energy using a net metering scheme, the utility will pay me the same amount. But unfortunately, under a net metering scheme, you can only sell back an amount of energy maximum equal to the amount of energy that you consume per year. So let's say I consume 10,000 kilowatt hours per year. If I inject more than that, if I inject, let's say, 15,000 kilowatt hours per year, the utility company will only pay me for the 10,000, and the extra 5,000 I will have injected them for free. The utility company will not pay me for this excess energy. And this is one of the disadvantages of net metering. So if you have excess energy larger than your energy consumption, you cannot benefit from net metering. But with peer-to-peer energy trading, it's a completely deregulated market. So you have no monopoly. Nobody sets the prices. It's just regulated. It follows the rules of supply and demand. So if you have excess energy, you can post it on the platform, and a buyer, you can specify your own price, or you can bargain. You can negotiate the price. And if you reach an agreement with the seller, you can sign both a smart contract, and you can sell your excess energy at any rate that you have agreed upon. So you have no monopolization, no middleman. The utility company doesn't play a role. You can maximum, if the utility company forces you, you will be paying just a wheeling fee, which is a small fee for using the electricity company infrastructure and transmission lines. Using peer-to-peer, we have a transparent dealings directly with other consumers. And since we have smart contracts, so we know that it's safe, it is autonomous. Once the energy is consumed by the seller, automatically we will have an automatic payment initiated from the energy buyer's wallet to the seller's wallet. Nevertheless, till date, I've not seen any countries that applies peer-to-peer. We have seen them on a proof of concept scale, but not on a large scale. And this still requires legislations to be developed by governments in order to implement. But in the near future, maybe in the upcoming 5 years, I think that peer-to-peer will become a reality, and we will see peer-to-peer energy trading on the utility grid. Some use cases to using peer-to-peer energy trading, proof of concepts. So we have transactive grids. This is a grid created in USA. It started with 5 households with rooftop PV selling their excess energy to other 5 households. It's just a mock-up that it was developed in the US in order to test peer-to-peer energy trading, and I can tell you it has been very successful. Another application is grid singularity. It's in Austria, in Europe. So it is similar to Transactive, but also it offers additional features such as data analysis benchmarking, smart grid management, green certificates trading, and energy trade validation. And if we look at peer-to-peer trading at a macro scale, we know the concept of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the concept of virtual power plants. It has been, we have been discussing this for the past decade, but it didn't come to reality until now because blockchain has enabled virtual power plants. So the concept behind virtual power plants is to combine thousands of small and large and medium scale renewable energy projects, PV, wind turbines, electric vehicles, to combine them and to create a distributed, decentralized virtual power plant. So instead of like installing like a 500 megawatt centralized power plant, we can substitute that with like thousands of small to medium scale renewable energy projects located in different places of the grid, okay, and managed using a blockchain. So the advantage that blockchain brings to the virtual power plant is that it eliminates the need of an aggregator or a broker to manage those thousands of distributed renewable energy resources. It can help to manage the financial settlements, for example, because those power plants, virtual power plants connected to the grid, will be selling their energy to the grid, so you'll have to pay them. The grid will have to pay them. So in order to manage the decentralized natures, the variety of those, various nature of those distributed resources, and to handle the financial or the payments for those small and large, medium scale power plants, we can use blockchain to do that. Okay, so this is similar to the peer-to-peer, but here we're talking on a macro scale where we can combine thousands and tens of thousands of small projects in order to create a big virtual power plant. In Japan, a startup called TEPCO, they have used this technology. They have used blockchain and peer-to-peer energy trading to track and build the mutual exchange of power between the several thousand owners of small PV plants and batteries aggregated in the virtual power plant. So this is a 12.4 megawatt virtual power plant that is supplying to the grid, and those thousands of small PV and batteries installed in households, they combined, they act like one virtual power plant, and they are using blockchain technology to manage and to do all the peer-to-peer tradings and settlements for those thousands of houses connected to this VPP. Okay. Also, blockchain can play a major role at the level of smart metering. I know that the concept of smart metering and our AMI, advanced metering infrastructure, is not new, but with the first generation of smart meters, we have been faced with so many challenges. For example, when we started talking about smart metering, concerns related to privacy and security of data started to emerge and come to the surface, especially in the industrial and commercial sector when we talk about industrial espionage. And some companies had really some worries about this data that had become digital and been traded with the utility company, exchanged with the utility company. So they had some worries about their privacy and the security of this data. And at this level, blockchain can add can bring its unique characteristic of being an immutable, secure, and transparent data network. So we can benefit from blockchain to push smart metering into a new level and create a new way of dealing with smart meters. So blockchain-based smart metering can definitely decrease payments and operational costs from the metering process. At the same time, as I mentioned, it's a way, it's one step further in smart metering because we're having more transparent, more accountable, and more secure data network for smart metering network. So with the conventional metering process, we have so many problems. So first of all, if your country still relies on the conventional way of doing metering, so you'll understand that because it incurs 5 to 15% overhead in order to operate the metering process, because they'll have to pay for the person to go to read your meter, to note down your energy consumption. It will be brought back to the utility company, where you will have manual data entry. Then this information will go to the accounting or the invoicing department. They will issue your invoice. They'll have to send you the invoice. It can be in a digital form or in an analog form, like paper sent to you in the mail. Then you will have to pay your bill, and they'll have to collect the money. So as you can see, it's a little bit complicated process. It's not that efficient. It's not designed for bi-directional energy, and especially not designed for peer-to-peer trading. Also, it doesn't allow. It only allows to issue invoices per point of distribution. So if someone has several households, you will not be able to combine their energy consumption, but you will only be invoicing them per point of distribution. So you cannot have a centric way of billing consumers, and we will see in an example how this will be how this is not that advantageous and creates some problems. And it will not give you the conventional way of doing metering. It will not give you any information about customers, how they consume. You will not be able to provide your customers with real-time data about their energy consumptions, to give them insights on how they can be more efficient and minimize their energy bills. And definitely you cannot control payment defaults using conventional ways. But if we're relying on blockchain based smart metering, we can definitely improve end users' payment discipline, because these consumers will be tied to a smart contract, and we know that a smart contract is a self-enforcing autonomous way of doing trading. So once they consume energy, by the end of the month, automatically, without anyone's permission, payments will go from the consumer's wallet to the utility company's account. You can reduce the cost of reading meters, billing, and collections, because you will be relying on a network of smart meters, so you don't have to go physically and read the meters and do manual data entry and issue invoicing. This will all this concept will be replaced with smart contracts. Automatic accounting layer, because smart contract is autonomous. Real-time payments, reduce the administrative burden of processing transaction over legacy rails. And it will also be transparent and having all transactions recorded on the ledger, on the blockchain ledger. It will offer an auditable energy data and enables customers to make smarter decisions about their energy usage. So I know I have told you about the single point of distribution way of doing billing, and why is that not a fair way of doing billing? So let's assume that I have two houses, one in the city, one in the suburban area where I go for the weekends, and my friend has only one house. So my friend consumes 800 kilowatt hours per month in his house. On my side, I only consume 600 kilowatt hours in my house, and I consume 200 kilowatt hours in my weekend house. So monthly speaking, we are both consuming the same amount of energy. We are both consuming 800 kilowatt hours. But if we're both on an increasing block rate of billing, he would be paying more for his energy, because he will be billed on the high block rates, because it's an increasing block rate structure. On the other side, I will be paying the 600 kilowatt hours on the small block rates, and the 200 kilowatt hours on a small block rate tariff. So my combined bill will be smaller than his bill, even though we are both consuming the same amount of energy. And this is why I think in the future, utility companies have to go from a POD metering system into a client-centric billing system. So with blockchain, and since every client has an ID, he will be billed for his aggregate, for his total energy consumption in the different locations that he occupied, and not just for his meter located in one location. Okay, so let's get back to the smart metering. This is also a use case of using blockchain and smart meters. This is a Ban Ki-moon. This is the name of the application. It's a South African application. So with a Ban Ki-moon application, for example, if we have a donor in Europe that wants to donate money for a school in Africa in order to help them supply electricity to the school, they don't have to send the money to a local bank through an NGO, and the NGO will collect the money and go to the utility company to pay for the electricity. So usually when you get intermediaries in such a process, you have to pay commission fees, and you're always vulnerable to fraud, to people stealing, to commissions. So in order to avoid that, you can use an application such as Banki-Moon, where you can use blockchain to automatically send credits to the smart meter of the school. And once this credit is automatically sent from peer node to peer node to the school, and they have credits in their smart meters, and this is like a prepaid system, automatically the utility company will provide electricity to the school and will have like pay-as-you-go system. So as you consume energy, they will take from the smart meter school, the credits for the energy they are providing. And once the credit is over, the donor can send again new credit to supply the school with electricity. So this is one way of thinking how we can benefit from blockchain and smart metering. Another application is the Grid Plus. This is a USA application where they are using a blockchain compatible smart meter, smart agent. So also you pay, you put some credit in your smart meter, you pay as you go. Okay, as you consume energy, you have some credits in your smart meter. So this way, the utility company will have real-time payments for the energy consumed. They don't have to wait till the end of the month to issue an invoice and get collected. And also, the smart Grid Plus smart agent provide consumers with some insights about their energy consumption. It helps them to, for example, to minimize energy consumption, to put a cap on your energy consumption, to minimize your energy consumptions in peak time. So it has so many features that can help the consumer to minimize his monthly energy bill. Electric vehicle charging. This is one way also to use blockchain in order to incentivize the installation of charging stations for electric vehicles. So we know that the main challenge with the wide adoption of electric vehicles is the absence of charging stations. So for example, if you're on the road in Brazil, you're not worried that you might, for example, go into an area where you don't have gas station, because all countries have gas stations everywhere. So, after a certain distance, you will find a gas station and you can fill your car. But with electric vehicles, this is not the case. So in order to go into a wider adoption of electric vehicles, we have to incentivize people to install, like they do with gas stations, to install charging stations for the public. And in order to do that, we have to create a model that provides security and peace of mind for both the owner of the charging station and the owner of the electric vehicle, and to provide fraud and credit card information stealing and everything related to that. So blockchain can offer that. This is one of the models that you can use. So for example, the cars will be equipped with a blockchain, a smart plug, and the electric charging station will also have a smart plug. Once the electric vehicle owner plugs his car to the charging station, it's like having a peer-to-peer connection. So the electric car vehicle owner will receive a message on his app on his mobile phone telling him that you're connected to your charging station. Please specify the amount of energy you're willing to get from the charging station, and please agree on the price offered by the owner of the charging station. So once you agree on those terms, it's like signing a smart contract. So automatically electricity will go from the charging station to the electric vehicle. And once the charging is ended, an automatic payment will be issued from the electric vehicle's owner's wallet to the charging station wallet. This way, the identity of the electric vehicle's person is kept safe. No exchange of credit card information or personal information is exchanged with the charging station owner. It is secure. It is transparent, so it is auditable. In case anything comes up in the future, they can always come back to the blockchain ledger and see that this transaction, but yet the identity of both parties will remain anonymous. So you can be sure that you will not be tracked by some secret government agencies to see where you charge your car, where you have been. So because we know that a lot of people have some concerns about their privacy and the privacy of their personal information. So blockchain can help us to create this model to encourage people to create charging stations and to encourage electric vehicle owners to use those charging stations to charge their cars. So already we have a startup called BlockCharge. It's a German startup where they use Ethereum blockchain. This is similar to Bitcoin blockchain. This is the second biggest blockchain platform. So they are using Ethereum blockchain and smart contracts to facilitate the charging of electric vehicles based on the smart plug that I described to you. A digital twin. So the digital twin model is like creating a digital copy for every asset. So if we're looking at power plants, for example, you have this power generation unit. So if we want to simplify things, let's consider it's a diesel generator, a small diesel generator. So in order to maintain and increase the lifespan of your diesel generator, you're creating a digital twin, a digital copy from all the sensors installed on your generator. So you are collecting all this data, building this digital twin. So how can usually users and facility managers benefit from this digital twin? So let's say I have a certain generator from a certain brand with a certain capacity, and I'm sure that thousands of this model have been sold worldwide. So if we're exchanging this information using blockchain technology, I will be benefiting. For example, knowing that all the people who own the same generator has been facing, for example, a problem with the oil pump after a certain operating hours. So this can give me insights. So this is some way of doing predictive mode of operation and prescriptive mode of operation. So I know that, okay, I didn't reach this number of hours, operation hours, but from the information gathered from digital information, from similar generators, I know that I'll be facing a problem with my oil pump sooner than the manufacturer told me. So I know that I have to replace it. Otherwise, I'll be facing with some downtime on my generator. Also, it will help you to increase the efficiency. For example, seeing that from the shared information from other digital twins. For example, if I put my generator in a cooler environment, I create better, let's say, ventilation for my generator. I can increase its efficiency and reduce my fuel consumption. So such insights will definitely help to improve the efficiency of assets, improve the financial payback from these assets, and will increase their lifetime. Okay, so power generation digital twin. It will help to map of the physical asset models in digital platform where a virtual digital replica model is created using the asset-related data obtained from variable sources. So digital twin models, usually they perform asset life estimates, detects behavior anomalies, and calculate thermal efficiency to ensure that the operations and maintenance processes are optimized across the power plant. Blockchain can definitely help to improve this application, the application of digital twin concept, because it creates a digital twin for every piece of equipment or machinery and update it continuously in real time. It helps to record and create like snapshots, real-time snapshots of the machinery condition from cradle to grave, from the moment it left the manufacturer's industrial facility to its salvaging time. It can improve participants' visibility into their own businesses while safeguarding your data and avoiding industrial espionage and exposing your facilities data to the public. And another way of implementing, so we know we have Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency. So a way we can benefit from blockchain is to create energy-backed currency. So this is similar to, for example, gold-backed currency. This way, for example, you earn a coin, a cryptocurrency, or a digital token for every megawatt hour that you generate from renewable energy. So this is how we can apply energy-backed currency. It's a way to incentivize people to install renewable energy projects. We have already solar coin. It's available in 17 countries. It gives you one solar coin for every 1 megawatt hour of energy generated from sun. So you can benefit from this solar coin, for example, to buy services or products from participating merchants and service providers. If you want, for example, to change your inverter, your batteries, you can benefit from this. Another application is a Juliet. it's in Amsterdam, in Netherlands. It's a community. It's a an incubator in community where also you earn a token from generating electricity from renewable energy resources, and you can benefit from this coin to buy services. Also, you can use it in grocery stores to buy services from the local dentist and other service providers. Also, blockchain can help to track and create a transparent, auditable trail for renewable energy certificates. So we know that this is a booming market worldwide, and we have seen increased interest in renewable energy certificates. Now we can be sure that if we use blockchain-based, first of all, we can see we can make sure of the authenticity of renewable energy certificates, where they have been generated from which renewable energy project, who bought them, and it can help to have a peer-to-peer trading of renewable energy certificates without having to rely on third parties that usually take commission in order to buy and sell renewable energy certificates. So Power Ledger and BCPG Australia, they have created this platform-based, blockchain-based platform in Thailand for the trading of renewable energy certificates in Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam and Indonesia, in order to create and incentivize people to buy renewable energy certificates. So I have shown you some of the projects that are implemented in the energy sector, blockchain projects implemented in the energy sector. If you're interested to learn more, you can see you have ENGIE, Vattenfall, Fortum, Slockit, UBS. So you can see you have so many big companies investing in energy blockchain projects and in different parts of the electric value chain. So you can see them and you can check them on your own. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions now, I'll be glad to answer your questions.
Thank you, Alan. As we say in Arabic, Alef Mabruk.
Thank you.
And I think this subject is it's very, very important to us here in Brazil. We have been facing the greatest crisis, energy crisis, since the last 20 years in Brazil. And yes, there is a threat to face lack of energy in the end of the year here in Brazil. It's real, and the energy market has been facing huge changes. Yesterday, for instance, the PL 558-29 from 2019, this is a law project in Brazil, was approved, and it will change the relations with distributed generation in Brazil. And there is another law project, the 414 from 2021, that will change the whole structure. And this future scenario that you show in your lecture about peer-to-peer transactions will be possible with this next new rule in Brazil. And then it's not a far future; it's a near future. And then this is a very, very hot issue. And before passing to the questions, I would like to thank again our sponsor, RBM Web, Gestor Tecnologia, Nitrogen, that these enterprises are sponsoring this webinar today. This is very important to us. Okay, and I would like to check if we have some questions to Alan. Alan, Mariana, in your opinion, how do you imagine the future of the energy sector will be with the application of hydrogen economy?
Definitely, I see that the hydrogen, maybe hopefully in the near future, will definitely be part of the energy mix of most utility companies. I know that high hopes have been put on this technology, but for some reason it didn't evolve as we expected. We are still facing so many technical problems in order to make it like commercial, safe to use on like commercial scale. But personally, I do believe that hydrogen technology and so hydrogen technology will be definitely part of the future energy mix. But Mariana, I have to tell you that it's not about the technology itself, because as we have seen through history, every time we'll have a new technology that emerge and another one that comes to replace the previous ones. The main question is how to push forward the electric grid, how to incentivize people to be more innovative, how to go outside this conventional model for the energy supply chains, this monopoly conducted by, for example, or like just one company that has to deal with the full energy grid. So by going into deregulation, by incentivizing people to become more proactive, just instead of being just a submissive consumer that consumes energy, they have to be more proactive. They have to contribute to the production, to the management of the energy grid, like hydrogen technology, electric vehicles, demand side management. So we have a lot of innovative solutions that we can integrate in order to simplify this equilibrium between supply and demand. But all those technologies or other technologies that will come to the market requires a very complex way to do the management of those technologies. And this is where I think blockchain can become a platform that can connect the different technologies. So even if we're talking about artificial intelligence, IoT, so all those technologies, they are very good and they can contribute to the energy sector. But in order to have the IoT sensors communicating data to the artificial intelligence, because we know that artificial intelligence softwares and machine learning algorithms, they strive for data. They want big amounts of data in order to be efficient. So how can we be sure that this data coming from the sensor to the artificial intelligence is credible, authentic, safe, transparent? So we need a platform, and the conventional way of exchanging data is not that safe. So in order to be safer, to be more efficient, I think this is where blockchain can come to the market and can help us to create this platform of exchanging data and creating new models for energy solutions. And it can be applied to hydrogen economy. It can be applied to any other technology also. Thank you for your question, Mariana.
One more question.
We don't have any questions.
Okay. And
Okay.
and in order to accomplish the time of our webinar, and I'd like to ask some last question. And you're a student of University of Quebec, isn't it?
Yes.
And how is this market in Canada? How advanced
Actually,
the technology there in Canada?
Yeah, I can tell you that the Canadian government and the more specifically the Ministry of Energy are investing a lot of money in investigating the potential of blockchain in different sectors. Energy sector is one of them. So they are really considering this option. They are looking how this technology can really impact the energy sector, how it can create new, as I said previously, business models for the energy companies. So they are taking it seriously. They started working on this topic, I think, 3 years ago. And as a researcher, I know that the Canadian government is offering a lot of may I call it scholarships or funds for researchers and research institutes to fund their research in this field. And this is very, very important. And it shows how they look at the blockchain application seriously. And they know that it has a lot of potential way beyond just cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin and such applications.
Thank you. Great. Once again, I would like to thank you for your time and thank you for your attention. Thank you for your knowledge. Okay. Thank you and see you soon.
My pleasure.
بخاطرك.
See you. Bye. Bye. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching. And if you want to watch the webinar again, it will be available in our channel. And don't forget to see the first webinar about blockchain with our. Don't forget to subscribe in our channel and like the video. See you in the next meeting. Bye.